Welcome to Medieval History Channel 97, where the echoes of the past come alive. Step into the world of knights, castles, and forgotten legends as we journey through time together. Let history speak. Hey, tonight we're stepping into a vivid moment of medieval life, a world where wealth and power came wrapped in an unexpected curse. So, dim the lights around you, maybe turn on a gentle fan for that soothing background hum, and let's gently drift together into this story. If you're feeling the vibe, a quick like or subscribe would mean the world. It helps this little community grow, and I'm always eager to know where you're tuning in from. Drop a comment with your location and the time there. It's incredible to watch our global family connect through these tales. Congratulations. You've just opened your eyes in the year 1398, inside a grand stone manor deep in the lush English countryside. The morning sun filters through narrow, aged windows, scattering long, golden beams across your chamber like a warm embrace. You stretch slowly beneath the weight of thick wool blankets, sinking into a mattress stuffed with soft feathers, a rare comfort that only those with great fortune can claim. Far away, the peasants who tend your lands wake before dawn, sleeping on rough straw pallets riddled with fleas and bedbugs, their lives marked by hardship. But you, Lord William Thornbrook, are among the richest nobles in the county. The good news? Your wealth towers unimaginably above the simple folk who toil for you. The bad news? Your big toe sears with pain, as if a red-hot poker is driven mercilessly through it, every slightest movement sending sharp, relentless waves of agony shooting up your leg. You suffer from gout, the infamous disease of kings. Your day begins as it always does, though today it feels heavier than usual. Servants hurry to your bedside, their footsteps muffled but urgent. Unlike the peasants who rise before dawn to milk cows and tend fields, you have luxuriated in sleep long past sunrise, cocooned away from the harsh realities of the world outside. Thomas, your head servant, approaches with careful reverence, carrying a silver basin filled with rose-scented water to cleanse your face and hands, a small indulgence in a day clouded by pain. Behind him, two younger servants carry your fine clothing, wool tunics dyed in rich colors, trimmed with silk brought from distant lands, symbols of status and privilege. My lord, Thomas says with a bow, voice low but steady, the household awaits your commands. The steward seeks your approval for the feast preparations, and you cut him off with a weary groan, the weight of your body and your condition pressing down on your spirit. Send for the physician. My foot, it's the gout again. Thomas's face falls, his eyes widening with the familiar concern. He has witnessed these painful episodes before, knows the toll they take, and feels the dread creeping into his chest. This is no simple ache. It is a torment that comes with no mercy. Right away, my lord. You try to sit up, but the moment you move, a surge of searing pain rockets through your foot. A sharp, almost unbearable jolt, as if the very bones are being crushed under the weight of the world. You gasp in agony, your body trembling as you fight to steady yourself. The swelling has returned, more vicious, more brutal than before. Your big toe, once a mere part of you, now looks grotesquely swollen, resembling a ripe red plum, hot to the touch. The skin stretches taut, burning as though fire courses beneath it, and the pain, even the lightest touch of a linen sheet, feels like cruel torture, like being flayed alive, your body a battlefield in the quiet of the night. This, you reflect bitterly, is the hidden cost of a life of privilege, the cruel irony of your existence. While the peasants toil away, struggling with malnutrition and the harsh elements of life, you, one of the so-called lucky ones, face a different kind of suffering. They may envy your abundant food, your shelter, your fine clothing, but they cannot see the silent toll your body endures, ravaged by the very indulgences that should have been your reward. The door creaks open, and in shuffles Master Gilbert, your physician. Unlike the village healers who offer their crude remedies to the common folk, Master Gilbert is a man of education, of sophistication. He studied in the renowned medical school of Meliere, France, and his treatments come at a price that would stagger anyone outside of the nobility. His visits cost more than a peasant could hope to earn in a month. But what is wealth, if not to secure the finest care when your body betrays you? My lord, Master Gilbert says gravely, his voice a calm counterpoint to the fury of your body. He sets down his leather satchel filled with his assortment of instruments, each one a symbol of the careful precision that will, hopefully, bring you relief. The gout has returned, I see. You grimace, the sharpness of the pain turning your expression into a mask of frustration. Like a bad penny, you mutter, your voice thick with sarcasm and a hint of despair. What cursed thing have I eaten this time? Master Gilbert strokes his graying beard, examining your swollen foot with the precision of a man who has seen this ailment more times than he can count. His fingers hover above your inflamed joint without making contact, as if the mere thought of touching it would send it into further frenzy. The skin is stretched tight, and the deep red hue screams of a fire that rages beneath the surface. As I've explained before, my lord, it is an imbalance of the humors. The phlegm, cold and moist, has settled in your joint, where it becomes corrupt and causes such pain. He begins, his voice steady and measured. But then he hesitates, sensing that the next part of his diagnosis will not be well received. Yes, you interrupt sharply, your patience fraying. My rich foods and wine, the same lecture every time, Gilbert. The physician doesn't flinch. He nods solemnly, unfazed by your irritation. Indeed, my lord. Your body produces too much uric humor from the rich meats, the sweet wines, the delicacies your table offers nightly. These corrupt humors crystallize in the cooler parts of your body, most often the feet, as they are furthest from the heart's warmth. His words are an unwelcome reminder of the price you pay for the indulgence of a life that many envy. Each bite of rich food, each sip of wine, each luxurious indulgence that should bring comfort only serves to feed the disease. What is privilege, if not a chain that binds you to a never-ending cycle of excess and pain? What Master Gilbert doesn't say aloud, but what lingers in the heavy silence between you, is the harsh truth you both dread. Your gout attacks are no longer rare misfortunes, but an encroaching shadow, growing darker and more frequent with each passing season. Last year, perhaps 3 painful bouts marked your struggle. This year, already 4 have struck, relentless as the autumn winds. Each time, the searing pain grips you longer, holding tight with a crueler persistence, while your body's resilience withers, making each recovery slower, more fragile. You have heard whispers among nobles, once proud, now crippled men, who shuffle with labored steps, their toes and fingers twisted and hardened by the cruel accumulation of tophi, those merciless chalky deposits under the skin. Their dignity erodes with every step they falter. This bitter irony is a weight on your soul. Peasants toil from dawn until dusk, their bodies forged strong by labor, their diets plain but sustaining. Meanwhile, you, with your life of relative ease and indulgence in lavish feasts, are slowly betrayed by the very comforts that surround you, luxuries that poison your joints with silent cruelty. Master Gilbert, steady and somber, opens his worn satchel with deliberate care. He withdraws several glass vials and bundles of dried herbs, his hands betraying a quiet sympathy. I've brought several remedies, my lord, he says gently. First, a poultice of herbs to soothe the heat and swelling. From his bag emerges a fragrant bundle, meadowsweet, willow bark, and other age-old herbs known to tame inflammation's fiery grip. They will be crushed and blended with wine vinegar, forming a paste to be pressed onto your throbbing joint, anointing your pain with a small measure of blessed relief. And for the pain, he adds, producing a dark tincture, a tincture of poppy. This precious elixir is the crown jewel of his healing trove, distilled from distant poppies. It dulls agony that feels unbearable. Yet, with its gift comes a perilous price. It clouds the mind, and frequent use births a craving, a slow surrender to dependence. You have witnessed the tragic fall of nobles, caught in its snare, their fortunes squandered as they chase the fading relief of costly drops, their wills eroding with each dose. Master Gilbert then shows a small pouch, autumn crocus, he says quietly. The Byzantine healers praised its power against gout, but it is a medicine of fine balance. Too much brings sickness, but the right amount can shorten your ordeal. As you hold the pouch, a flicker of hope warms your chest, yet mingled with it is the shadow of the path ahead, uncertain and fraught with pain. What neither of you realizes is that this humble remedy, autumn crocus, harbors a secret power, a secret that centuries later modern physicians will name colchicine. It is one of the rare, truly effective treatments for gout. The Byzantine healers, through trial and error and ancient wisdom, discovered this cure long ago, and its knowledge silently journeyed through Europe, whispered from one physician to the next, even as the true reason for its magic remained a mystery. As Master Gilbert carefully prepares his remedies, grinding herbs with a small mortar and pestle, your gaze drifts beyond the window. Your vast estate unfolds under the fading light, rolling fields, dense forests, and scattered villages where peasants toil relentlessly from dawn to dusk. You are their lord, the collector of taxes, their protector with your soldiers, and their arbiter in disputes. In return, they produce the bounty that sustains your privileged life. Outside, the harvest is in full swing. Men wield scythes with practiced precision, slicing through golden wheat that shimmers in the afternoon sun. Women gather and bind the stalks with deft hands. Children scurry among the rows, collecting fallen grains with youthful eagerness. Their movements flow in a rhythm born of years of labor, their muscles hardened by the earth's demands. None of them, you suspect, bear the cruel burden of gout. Here, my lord, Master Gilbert's voice pulls you back to the present. He offers a small cup filled with a dark liquid. The bitter bite of poppy touches your tongue, and you force yourself to swallow despite the unpleasant taste. A gentle warmth soon begins to spread through your body, dulling the sharp sting of pain that has gnawed at you relentlessly. Next, the poultice. Master Gilbert applies the paste with care, pressing it softly against your inflamed joint before wrapping it in pristine linen. The cool touch brings a whisper of relief, a small comfort amidst the ache. The autumn crocus I've mixed with wine, he explains quietly, offering you another cup. Drink it slowly. It may upset your stomach, but the discomfort will fade. You obey, grimacing at the strange, bitter flavor. Then you recline against your pillows, surrendering yourself to the slow, uncertain work of healing. Rest now, my lord, Master Gilbert instructs gently. No rich foods today, just barley water, a bit of bread, maybe some boiled chicken without skin. I'll return this evening to see how you're doing. As he gathers his tools, you nod toward Thomas, who stands quietly nearby. Pay Master Gilbert his fee. The physician bows and departs, leaving you alone with the quiet ticking of time, your swirling thoughts, and the stubborn pain. Outside the window, the steady swish of scythes continues, punctuated by the workers' calls and a harvest song rising from the fields, a vibrant, living testament to their unyielding toil. Their lives are marked by hardships you will never truly grasp, the gnawing fear of hunger, the merciless toll of weather and disease, the endless physical labor that erodes bodies far too soon. Yet here you lie, cradled in your fine bed within your sturdy stone manor, burdened by a pain that is cruelly the direct consequence of the very privilege that separates you from them. This is the great equalizer. No matter how high your rank or how vast your wealth, your human body remains fragile, exposed to its own intimate agonies that spare no one. The poppy tincture begins to take hold, wrapping your swirling thoughts in a soft, suffocating cotton. The sharp edges of your pain dull gradually, easing the relentless torment. As sleep beckons you into its quiet embrace, a haunting question stirs within your weary mind. Is this gout truly the cruelest curse of a life lived in riches during medieval times? Or is it simply a physical messenger, a stark symbol of a deeper truth? That excess, no matter how glamorous it appears, inevitably carries its own hidden punishments. When you finally awaken, the sun has journeyed across the sky, bathing the chamber in the mellow light of mid-afternoon. The searing agony in your foot has softened into a persistent throb thanks to Master Gilbert's remedies and your own grim endurance. Clarity seeps back into your thoughts now that the worst has subsided. Thomas appears beside your bed, bearing a tray with quiet reverence. Barley water and bread, my lord, as the physician ordered. The barley water tastes bland, a thin whisper against your tongue. The bread is humble, plain peasant fare, yet crafted from better grain than most common folk would ever know. It stands in stark contrast to the opulence you usually command. Roasted meats, glazed in rich sauces, succulent game birds, fish on fasting days, all paired with fine wines and ales, crowned by sweet desserts spun from rare, costly sugar. Your table is a mirror of your status. Each dish a deliberate statement of power and abundance, and yet it is this very excess that has betrayed you. The human body was never designed for such luxury, especially when combined with the idle ease of noble life. Meanwhile, the peasants consume simple fare, grains, vegetables, and the occasional morsel of meat, while their bodies toil and burn through every calorie. Their flesh knows no such betrayal. No crystals gather to torment them as they labor beneath the sun. "My lord," Thomas says, his voice cautious, "the steward still awaits your orders for tomorrow's feast. The merchant from London has arrived with the spices you requested." You pause, the weight of the moment pressing down like the ache in your foot. "Tell him to proceed as planned," you say firmly, "but add simpler dishes to the table. Less meat, more fish, and instruct the kitchens to reduce the wine in their sauces." Thomas blinks, surprise flickering across his face, then inclines his head. "Yes, my lord, and shall I inform the guests that you are indisposed?" You pause to consider the weight of the decision. This feast is no mere celebration. It is a delicate dance of politics, an opportunity to secure the favor of a visiting baron whose alliance could shift the balance of power in your favor. To be absent now would be a blunder, a silence that might speak louder than words. "No," you resolve firmly. "I will attend." You instruct that a chair be prepared with cushions, a small mercy for your aching foot, and ask for your walking staff to be brought close. After Thomas departs, you move cautiously, swinging your legs over the edge of the bed. A sharp, familiar pain stabs at your toe. The sting is harsh but bearable, an old companion you've learned to live with. Rising slowly, you keep your weight carefully off the tender foot, making a careful hop step toward the window. Through the glass, the inner courtyard of your manor bursts with life and frantic preparation. Servants dart back and forth, their faces etched with the urgency of the coming day. A cart groans under the weight of ale barrels being unloaded. Smoke curls upward from the kitchens where cooks labor over simmering pots, coaxing slow-cooked dishes to perfection. This elaborate choreography of effort unfolds unseen, yet it is the engine of your world. The countless hands and backs bent tirelessly to uphold your lifestyle, to create the illusion of effortless grandeur that others expect from someone of your rank. You feel the heavy burden of privilege pressing down, not only the weight of pain in your foot, but the relentless demand to sustain appearances. In this medieval society, wealth is a performance. Your table must overflow with food, your garments shimmer with the finest fabrics, and your home must dazzle. Anything less would be a sign of decline, a whisper of weakness in a world that measures worth by such displays. So you consume without restraint, indulge beyond your body's limits, and your body wages its quiet rebellion. You recall King Henry IV, trapped by the cruel irony of gout, his own body betraying him with painful flare-ups that sometimes cripple him. Yet still he feasts and drinks, bound by the unyielding expectations of his crown. You share this invisible prison, the disease of kings, where status and suffering entwine, each feeding the other in a vicious cycle. As evening falls, Master Gilbert returns, his practiced eyes scanning your foot with a hint of approval. The swelling has lessened. Relief washes over you, thin but real. "The remedies have taken hold," he says softly. "The worst is passing. But, my lord, to guard against the future." His voice trails off, the unspoken truth hanging in the air. You meet his gaze and finish for him, voice steady but tinged with resignation. Less rich food, less wine, more walking, more water. He nods, knowing well the price of this wisdom. Avoid organ meats, liver, kidneys, sweetbreads. Limit game birds. Cut back on wine, especially sweet varieties. This advice is ancient, born from centuries of watching men like you suffer and falter. Though the science behind it remains a mystery, the pattern is clear. Certain indulgences bring pain with ruthless certainty. "I will try," you promise, the words heavy with the knowledge that trying means resisting a world built on excess. Your social life, your power, your very identity, woven tightly with the rituals of feasting and drinking. To step away is to risk isolation, to risk losing the fragile threads that hold your position intact. Yet beneath it all, a small voice whispers, a hope that perhaps, in choosing moderation, you might reclaim not just your health, but a measure of freedom. After Master Gilbert departs, Lady Elelanina quietly enters your chamber. Unlike you, who have been confined to rest, she has risen with the dawn, orchestrating the endless demands of the household, guiding servants, scrutinizing ledgers, and ensuring that every corner of your vast estate hums with order while you navigate the treacherous waters of politics and commerce. "William," she says softly, Settling gently on the edge of your bed, her voice laced with concern, how are you feeling? You meet her gaze, the weight of your suffering still lingering but lightened. Better, you confess. Gilbert's remedies have helped. She exhales slowly, squeezing your hand with quiet urgency. This is your second attack this month. You must take better care of yourself. There's a tenderness beneath her firm tone. Born of noble blood and sharpened by experience, Lady Elelanena knows the heavy burdens of status, but she does not shy away from reality. The feast tomorrow, she continues. I've ordered the cooks to prepare a special plate for you. Simpler, gentler foods. You can still take your place at the high table and fulfill your duties as host without risking your health. A grateful smile curves your lips. This is the reason you chose her, not merely for the alliance between your houses or the lands and wealth she brought, but for her intelligence, her compassion, and the steady strength she lends. You pause, then share a thought that has been growing in your mind. I've been thinking, maybe we should change how we eat every day, not only when gout strikes. Her brow arches slightly in surprise. Like the monastics? Plain meals and prayers? You chuckle softly, though the movement sends a sharp reminder through your foot. Not quite that austere, but more fish and vegetables, less of the rich sauces and sweet wines. Lady Elelanena nods thoughtfully. It would save money for other needs, and might even set a new trend. You know how others at court mimic your every move. That's true, you agree quietly. As one of the region's wealthiest and most respected nobles, your choices ripple beyond your walls. If you begin to embrace simplicity, others may find permission to do the same. A small mercy for those weighed down by the endless demands of extravagant display. We'll try it, you decide quietly, starting after tomorrow's feast. As night settles around you, the servants arrive carrying wax candles to your chamber. These candles, luxuries far beyond the reach of common folk, flicker softly, casting a warm, gentle glow that fills the room with quiet comfort. You think of the peasants who, when darkness falls, simply surrender to sleep or rely on crude rushlights made from reeds dipped in animal fat, barely enough to hold back the night's shadows. Your candles are different, made from pure beeswax, more costly, yes, but burning clean and sweet, a small reminder of the world you inhabit. A pang stirs inside you as your mind drifts to the stark divide between your life and theirs. They wake with the first light of dawn, toil until their bodies ache, subsisting on humble fare, and sleep on rough straw pallets under open skies. You, however, rise at your leisure, negotiate power and politics rather than physical strain, feast on rich foods that weigh heavily on your body, and rest on soft feathers wrapped in fine linen. Their battles are with hunger, cold, and unseen sicknesses, often met without mercy or cure. Yours are battles with gout, creeping weight, and the precarious dance of influence and expectation. Different struggles for different worlds, yet struggles all the same. Perhaps therein lies a bittersweet truth. No life is immune to suffering. Privilege does not grant immunity to pain. The human body, no matter how adorned or pampered, bears limits, and excess, though it dazzles and impresses, demands its own toll. As your eyes grow heavy, your foot still throbbing but no longer unbearable, a quiet determination settles within you to find balance, to preserve your place without sacrificing your health. It will not be simple, not in a realm where worth is measured by consumption and display. But if there is anyone who can forge a new path, it is one who holds both the power and the choice. Tomorrow will bring the feast, its excesses, its obligations, its tempting allure. But perhaps the day after will mark a beginning. A turning point where you embrace the gifts of your station without succumbing to its poison. The harshest burden of wealth in medieval times is not merely the gout. It is the gilded cage of expectation, an endless demand to consume that which ultimately harms. Yet even gilded cages have doors, if only one dares to seek them and to step boldly beyond. Morning arrives with a pale sun struggling to pierce the lingering mist that clings like a shroud over your estate. You awaken slowly, sensing a fragile hope as you test your foot. Though still tender and swollen, the fierce, searing pain that once consumed it has softened, dulled by Master Gilbert's diligent remedies. The autumn crocus in particular seems to have woven its quiet magic, shortening the cruel duration of these relentless attacks. Today is the feast, an occasion that calls for celebration and ceremony. but your body, weighed down by discomfort, reminds you of its limits. Yet the unyielding demands of your status pull you upward. In this medieval world, reputation is a fortress stronger than stone and far more precious than gold. A single crack, a glimpse of weakness, could send ripples of doubt rushing like wildfire through the noble courts. Whispers breed like shadows, threatening to unravel alliances, darken your children's futures, and reach even the ears of the king himself. With a slow but determined breath, you rise. Thomas approaches to assist, steady and reliable. Another servant follows, carefully dressing you in your finest finery, a tunic of deep blue wool from Flanders, embroidered with delicate patterns around the neck and sleeves, a belt fastened with gleaming silver buckles, snug hose clinging to your legs, and soft leather shoes painstakingly altered to cradle your swollen toe. The left shoe bears the mark of care, a precise slit, patched with supple leather to create a gentle pocket where your afflicted joint can rest without pressure or pain. "My walking staff," you remind Thomas gently, your voice steady despite the weight you bear. He hurries to retrieve the polished oak staff topped with a silver knob, an emblem of authority carried by many nobles, yet today a vital support. It will bear the weight your foot cannot, lending you the strength to face the day. Carefully, step by painful step, you descend the cold stone stairs of your manor. Each movement is a silent negotiation between pride and suffering. Below, the great hall buzzes with life and preparation. Servants lay fresh rushes mingled with fragrant herbs across the floor. Their sweet scents will rise beneath the feet of the gathering, a delicate veil over the many bodies filling the room. Rows of trestle tables are being arranged, culminating in the high table perched upon a raised platform, the throne from which you and your honored guests will preside over the feast. Your steward Henry approaches with a respectful bow. Unlike Thomas, who attends to your personal needs, Henry carries the weight of the entire estate on his shoulders, overseeing servants, managing finances, and ensuring the vast machinery of your lands and household runs with quiet efficiency. "My lord," he says, his voice steady but with a hint of urgency, "everything is proceeding as planned. The Baron and his party are already on the road and should be here within the hour. The kitchens report that all the dishes are on schedule and preparations are nearly complete." "Good," you reply, your tone measured but tinged with the weight of the duties you bear. Leaning slightly on your staff, you feel the familiar pressure on your foot, a reminder of the delicate balance between duty and pain. "And the special arrangements we discussed?" "Yes, my lord. Your chair at the high table has been cushioned as you requested, with a small stool placed beneath it for your foot. Lady Elenina has ensured the kitchen is aware of your dietary needs." You nod, a quiet satisfaction settling in your chest. These small adjustments, insignificant to most, are lifelines for you. They will allow you to play your part in the social rituals without pushing your body too far, without inviting the sting of discomfort that constantly threatens to overwhelm you. This constant balancing act, appearing strong, maintaining the grace and dignity expected of someone of your station, while secretly managing the ravages of age and illness, has become your daily reality. The weight of your title, the responsibilities that come with it, demand you project strength even when your body betrays you. Outside, the sound of horns breaks through your thoughts. The Baron's party has arrived earlier than expected. You straighten, the pain in your foot a dull throb now, something you can manage as long as you're careful. You grip your staff a little firmer, mentally steeling yourself for the encounter, for the performance that is about to unfold. With slow, measured steps, you make your way to the courtyard. Your household is already assembling, a sea of faces ready to welcome the visitors, their eyes trained on you. They depend on you to lead, to be the anchor in this gathering, just as much as you rely on them to uphold the order you have painstakingly built. Lady Elenina joins you. She is a vision of grace, her gown a deep green that catches the light, accentuated by a gold-embroidered belt that hugs her waist, and delicate golden chains adorning her head like a crown. Together, you form an image of prosperity and power, a carefully constructed portrait meant to reassure your guests that, despite the personal struggles, your house stands firm. The Baron's party enters with the sound of hooves on stone, the rhythm of their approach punctuated by the flutter of banners in the wind. They are a procession of wealth and importance, their arrival signaling the importance of this gathering, a reminder that your position is not one of leisure but of constant performance. Baron Radcliffe is a burly man, his 40-something frame thickened by both age and indulgence. His face is flushed, not just from the wind, but also from the wine that has no doubt been a constant companion on his journey. His clothes, though rich, show the wear of travel, a slight disarray that betrays his rough journey. He dismounts with a grunt that carries more weight than the casual sound would suggest, hinting that he too bears the burdens of his rank in secret, much like you. But his greeting, loud and boisterous, is a stark contrast to the subtle pain you feel. "Lord Thornbrook," he calls out, his voice booming with familiarity as he strides forward with arms outstretched, his hearty laughter echoing in the courtyard. "How good it is to see you again." You step forward to meet him, the act more deliberate than it may appear, careful not to put too much weight on your foot. The gesture, the handshake, the warmth of the greeting, it all feels like a delicate dance you must perform, a role you have learned to play with precision. "Baron Radcliffe, welcome to my home," you reply, your voice steady, though the weight of the moment lingers in the air. "We are honored by your presence." And in that moment, as the Baron's hearty form stands before you, the pain in your foot recedes, at least momentarily, as the rituals of nobility take center stage. But beneath it all, the quiet understanding remains. You are, as always, more than the sum of your aches. "You are Lord Thornbrook." The formal greetings continue, each name and title pronounced with deliberate respect as the Baron's party, family members, personal servants, and guards are acknowledged in precise order. This ritual of welcome is far more than mere politeness. It is the invisible thread weaving the social fabric, defining hierarchies and relationships that will govern every interaction during the visit. In this medieval world, society moves with the rhythm of these clear delineations: who sits where, who speaks when, who bows to whom. To break these unwritten laws is to invite disorder, threatening the delicate balance that holds power and peace in place. As the Baron's party is escorted to their chambers to refresh after the long journey, you return to the Great Hall. Here, the final preparations unfold under your watchful eye. The pain in your foot grows sharper with each step and movement, a burning reminder of your vulnerability. Yet you wear the mask of a nobleman, composed, unyielding. To reveal pain is to reveal weakness, a luxury you cannot afford. The hall itself has transformed. Long trestle tables are draped with pristine linens, wooden trenchers are set meticulously at each place. At the high table gleam silver cups, symbols of privilege, while simpler wooden or horn cups serve the lower ranks. The floor is carpeted with fresh rushes, their crushed scent of meadowsweet and lavender filling the air like a quiet promise of comfort. Servants dart back and forth, making last-minute adjustments, while the steward orchestrates the scene with calm authority. You settle into the high table where your specially modified chair awaits. Testing it carefully, you find the cushions offer support, and a small stool beneath the table's drape cradles your foot, elevated yet hidden. From this vantage, you can command the feast without the torment of standing, an unspoken kindness you deeply appreciate. A messenger from the kitchens arrives to announce the first courses are prepared. You send word to the Baron and his guests that the feast will commence shortly. Moments stretch as you wait. Then Lady Elenena approaches, leaning close so only you can hear. "You're in pain," she says softly, her voice threaded with concern. "Manageable," you reply, though the steady throb deepens, burning beneath your calm exterior. She offers a knowing look, then from a small pouch at her belt produces a vial of poppy tincture, just enough to dull the edge of pain, not enough to cloud your mind. You take it gratefully, sipping discreetly when no eyes are upon you. The bitterness fades, replaced by a gentle warmth spreading through your body, a subtle relief settling in. Not a cure, but a shield that is pushing pain to the background so you may focus on the responsibilities before you. The hall begins to fill as guests arrive, each taking their place in the strict order of rank. The Baron, and so his immediate family joins you at the high table, where the finest setting has been prepared, while your attendants, Household knights and officials take their seats at the tables below, their positions marked by a certain distance from the grandeur you and your peers enjoy. The lower servants, as usual, will dine later, after the feast has ended, filling their bellies with the leftovers and simpler fare that has been specially set aside for them. There's a quiet irony in the system, where the leftovers from your indulgence serve as the sustenance for those who work to provide it all. The meal begins with the ceremonial washing of hands. Servants, their movements efficient but graceful, glide between the tables, offering basins of rose-scented water, their hands steady as they carry towels for drying. It's a practical ritual, for much of the meal will be eaten with fingers. But it's also symbolic, marking the transition from the mundane to the formal, a moment of cleansing before the indulgence that is about to follow. The first course arrives, carried in procession by your servants, a symphony of rich dishes. For most guests, there are sumptuous meat pastries, golden roasted fowl, and a steaming soup of herbs and barley, each plate a visual representation of the wealth of your estate. At your place, however, the offerings are simpler, as you have arranged with the kitchen in advance. Boiled chicken, its skin carefully removed, humble bread, and a small portion of fish, lightly cooked with herbs. It is luxurious compared to what a peasant might call a meal, yet far less likely to aggravate your gout, a small mercy in a life dominated by excess. Baron Radcliffe, seated to your right, notices the difference and raises an eyebrow. "Not partaking of the full feast, Lord Thornbrook?" he asks, tearing into a meat pastry with relish, his voice booming across the table. His enthusiasm for the meal is evident as he takes another bite, oblivious to the small gesture of restraint you are making. You smile, a practiced, diplomatic expression that hides the discomfort of your situation. "A temporary measure," you explain, your voice even. "My physician advises caution with certain foods." The Baron's eyes flicker with recognition. "Ah, the cursed gout," he mutters, his voice dipping into a knowing tone. "Is it not the disease of kings and nobles?" He lifts his wine cup, offering you a half-hearted salute. "I've had a touch of it myself in recent years. Damnable thing." You nod in agreement, grateful for his understanding. "Indeed," you reply. "The price we pay for our position, it seems." The Baron laughs, a loud, hearty sound that ripples through the room, drawing the attention of nearby guests. His laughter cuts through the air, a reminder of the privilege and power he enjoys. "Well said," he booms, shaking his head. "The peasants don't suffer it, do they? Too busy breaking their backs in the field to develop our refined ailments." There's a bitter truth in his jest. Gout is a rare affliction among the working classes. Their diet, simple grains, vegetables, and the occasional scrap of meat, rarely gives rise to the buildup of uric acid that causes such suffering. Their bodies, constantly working the fields, remain efficient, conditioned by labor. It is only when you combine the indulgences of rich foods, organ meats, game birds, certain fish, with wine and a sedentary life that gout thrives. As the feast unfolds, you observe the others around you, their hearty consumption of food and drink, the way they revel in abundance. The Baron eats and drinks with vigor, as do many of the knights and officials at the lower tables. It's a point of pride for them, the ability to show their wealth through such unabashed consumption, to indulge without restraint. To them, the display of excess is as much a symbol of status as the gold that glitters in their pockets. You, however, sit quietly at the high table, the subtle pain in your foot, a reminder that with every indulgence comes its price. The feast is not as sweet as it once was. Yet you notice that some of the older men, those who wince subtly when shifting in their seats, eat with greater care, watering down their wine as if each sip is weighed against the ache in their joints. They too have learned the bitter lessons that gout imparts, silent teachers of endurance and restraint. Between courses, the minstrels weave their melodies, singing ballads of chivalry and courtly love, their lutes and small harps filling the hall with a refined grace. This music offers diners a welcome pause between bites, a breath of cultured elegance amid the feast's indulgence. It also grants you the chance to engage your guests, weaving the threads of conversation that form the true fabric of noble gatherings, relationships built on shared concerns and mutual alliances. "I understand the king has imposed a new tax on wool exports," you say to Baron Radcliffe, steering the dialogue toward matters that bind your fortunes. Your estates, like his, produce abundant wool destined for Flanders, where skilled hands transform it into the fine cloth that adorns Europe's nobility. The Baron's scowl deepens. Indeed, and at the worst possible time, the merchants from Bruges grumble over last year's poor clip. With this new tax, their eyes will turn towards Spain instead. This sparks a lively discussion of trade, tariffs, and royal policies that flows through the meal. Other nobles at the high table join in, exchanging news, concerns, and sharp opinions. This is the essence of medieval nobility's commerce. Conversations over lavish feasts where alliances are forged and power quietly brokered. As the main courses clear away and the sweeter offerings emerge, fruits preserved in honey, custards, and delicate cakes perfumed with rare spices from the east, your foot sends a persistent reminder of its suffering. Despite the cushion beneath you, the careful elevation, the poppy tincture's dulling touch, the pain has grown steadily, gnawing beneath the surface of your resolve. Lady Elenina notices your discomfort, her eyes flickering with quiet concern. She signals subtly to the steward, who bends low to catch her whispered words before nodding and stepping away. Moments later, the minstrels launch into a comic tale of a night's misadventures, the hall erupting in laughter and light-hearted mirth. Seizing the cover of this distraction, you shift cautiously in your seat, seeking a reprieve from the relentless ache. "Perhaps some air, my lord," Lady Elenina suggests softly, her voice a gentle balm. "The tale will hold their attention for a while." You nod gratefully. Using your staff and accepting her discreet support, you rise and make your way slowly to a side door that leads to a small garden attached to the great hall. The cool evening air is a relief after the warmth and noise inside. "You should return," you tell Elenina once you're seated on a stone bench. "Our guests will notice if we're both absent." "In a moment," she says, arranging her skirts as she sits beside you. "First, tell me truly, how bad is the pain?" You sigh, dropping the mask of noble composure you've maintained throughout the feast. "Worsening. The movement, the heat of the hall," you gesture helplessly. "Even with all our precautions, it's flaring again." She takes your hand, her face concerned in the fading light. "Should I send for Master Gilbert?" You consider this. The physician could bring stronger remedies, but to summon him during the feast would draw attention to your condition and might insult the Baron. Medieval etiquette is clear. A host must not show weakness or discomfort that might make guests feel unwelcome. "No," you decide. "I can manage until the feast ends. Just a few moments here to gather myself." Lady Elenina nods, understanding both your pain and the social constraints that force you to endure it in silence. This is another burden of nobility, the requirement to maintain appearances regardless of personal cost. After a brief rest, you return to the hall, timing your entrance during a lull in the entertainment. Few seem to have noticed your absence, and those who did assume you were attending to host duties. The Baron is deep in conversation with another guest, his cup refilled yet again with the sweet wine that will, in time, likely bring him the same suffering you're experiencing now. The feast continues for another hour, more food, more wine, more entertainment. You fulfill your duties as host, engaging in conversation, ensuring the Baron and other important guests feel appropriately honored, maintaining the delicate balance of medieval social politics despite the fire burning in your foot. Finally, the Baron rises, swaying slightly from the effects of wine. "A magnificent feast, Lord Thornbrook. Your hospitality is as generous as your reputation suggested. This is the signal that the formal part of the evening is concluding. Some guests will retire to their chambers, others will linger for more drinking and conversation, but the ritual obligations have been fulfilled. You can now withdraw without offense." "You honor us with your presence, Baron," you reply, also standing despite the protest from your foot. "My home is yours for as long as you wish to stay." After the final courtesies are exchanged, you make your way slowly back to your chamber, leaning heavily on your staff. The poppy tincture has worn off, and each step sends jagged spikes of pain shooting up your leg. By the time you reach your room, you're breathing heavily from the effort of maintaining composure. Thomas is waiting, along with a young assistant. They help you undress and prepare for bed, removing the fine clothing and replacing it with a linen sleeping shirt. The modified shoe comes off last, revealing your toe, now visibly more swollen than it was this morning, the skin stretched tight and shiny. "Shall I send for Master Gilbert, my lord?" Thomas asks, his face creased with concern. "Yes," you reply, too tired and in too much pain to maintain pretense, "and bring cool water for my foot until he arrives." While waiting for the physician, you lie back against the pillows, your throbbing foot elevated on cushions. The feast was a success. The Baron is pleased. Alliance is strengthened. Your reputation for hospitality maintained. Yet beneath it all, the ache in your foot reminds you of the fragile balance you must sustain between duty and suffering, appearance and reality. But the cost is written in the pain that pulses through your body with each heartbeat. This is the reality behind the glamour of medieval nobility, the physical price paid for social position. While peasants suffer from too little, you suffer from too much. Their bodies are worn down by labor and occasional hunger. Yours is poisoned by abundance. Neither fate is enviable, just different forms of the same human vulnerability to circumstance. Master Gilbert arrives, his face grave when he sees your foot. "The feast, I presume?" You nod warily. "I followed your advice as much as possible. Simpler food, watered wine, but the standing, the heat." He sighs, opening his satchel. "The body needs time to heal, my lord. Each attack makes the next more likely unless that healing is complete." He begins preparing a stronger poultice than before, the pungent smell of herbs filling the chamber. And complete healing requires more than just waiting for the pain to subside. It requires ongoing change. This is the challenge you face, not just recovering from this attack, but preventing the next one. And that means confronting the expectations and habits that define your position in society. Can you be a medieval lord without the feasting, the wine, the rich foods that are symbols of your status? Can you find a balance between the demands of your rank and the needs of your body? As Master Gilbert applies the fresh poultice to your foot, the cool herbs bring immediate, if minor, relief. You consider what changes might be possible. Perhaps more walking when you're well, more water between cups of wine, more fish and fewer game birds on your daily table. Small adjustments that might, over time, reduce the frequency and severity of your attacks. After Master Gilbert advises, "Rest now, my lord," and packs up his supplies, you take the stronger dose of poppy tincture he left for the night with a quiet sense of relief. As the medicine begins to dull the sharp edges of your pain, your mind drifts through the day's events. Despite the ache that gnaws at your foot, you fulfilled your duties. The feast served its purpose well. The alliance with Baron Radcliffe stands firm. Perhaps this is the true art of nobility. Not merely wielding wealth and power, but skillfully navigating the burdens and constraints that come with them. It is a delicate balance, meeting the lofty expectations of your station while guarding yourself against its relentless excesses. A survival skill different from that of the peasants, yet no less vital. The poppy tincture pulls you towards sleep, your thoughts growing hazy and fragmented. Your last conscious reflection is of the changes you plan to begin tomorrow when the Baron departs. A subtle shift in your path that might ease your suffering while preserving your place in the rigid hierarchy of medieval society. As you drift into the quiet darkness of your chamber, the pain in your foot recedes to a distant throb, a solemn reminder of the price paid for privilege. The disease of kings has marked you, as it has so many in your class, a cruel brand of belonging to a world of excess that both elevates and punishes. Outside, the estate slowly settles into night. Servants clear the great hall, removing the remnants of the feast. Guards patrol the walls and courtyards. In the village beyond your manor, peasants sleep the deep, exhaustion-soaked sleep of those free from the crystalline torments that plague your joints. Different lives, different sufferings. The medieval world turns on this axis of inequality, each bearing the burdens assigned by their station. Tonight, yours is the burning pain of gout, an ironic curse for having too much in a world where so many have too little. Morning arrives with the distant crowing of roosters and the soft murmur of servants beginning their daily tasks. The poppy tincture's hold fades, and you awaken to find your foot still swollen, but with less searing pain. Master Gilbert's stronger poultice has drawn some of the heat from the inflamed joint, offering a fragile promise of relief. Through the narrow window of your chamber, the day unfolds with a promise of grace. Clear blue skies stretched wide, touched by the crisp autumn air that carries a freshness, making every breath feel alive. It is the kind of day that beckons movement, where the body is meant to soar, not falter. On such a morning, if health had been on your side, you might have been out there with the Baron, heart pounding in rhythm with galloping hooves, the falcon perched steady on your wrist, hounds baying eagerly ahead, the wild sense of forest and earth mingling as you chased after deer or boar. These are the stolen joys of nobility, pleasures your gout cruelly robs you of time and again. The quiet creak of the door draws your attention. Thomas steps in, softly, carrying a tray with a pottery cup steaming gently. "Good morning, my lord. Master Gilbert left this for you to drink upon waking." You lean against the pillows, accepting the cup with a grateful yet wary hand. The bitter aroma rises, a mix of meadowsweet and willow bark, familiar agents in the battle against your inflammation. The taste is harsh, a medicine you've come to know well in moments like these. "The Baron?" you ask, swallowing the medicine with a forced calm. "Already breaking his fast in the hall, my lord. He plans to depart before midday." Relief washes over you quietly. Baron Radcliffe's visit carried weight beyond mere social grace. Politics were tangled in every smile and bow, but hosting demands vigor you cannot afford when your body betrays you. Soon with his departure, the exhausting dance of appearances can fade, leaving space for healing. "Help me dress," you command gently. "Nothing elaborate, I'll break my fast here in solitude." Thomas chooses simple garments, a plain wool tunic, loose hose that spare your swollen foot any pressure, and the modified shoe carefully shaped for your inflamed toe. Each movement as you dress is a careful negotiation with pain, a reminder that your body remembers its fragility with every jostle. Seated by the window, you find a quiet refuge. Thomas returns with a tray holding your morning meal, a humble slice of bread, watered ale, and a modest piece of cold fish from last night's feast. It is a meal closer to what a well-off peasant might eat than the decadent breakfasts you're used to indulging in. Yet Master Gilbert's words echo in your mind. Simplicity and moderation in diet are your shields against the cruel return of gout. As you eat, the sounds from the courtyard reach your ears, horses stirred to readiness, servants bustling with luggage, and the Baron's booming voice commanding his retinue. Outside, life moves with purpose and vigor you envy, but for now, your fight is inward, against pain, against expectation, against the slow march toward recovery. You should be there to bid him farewell formally, yet both he and you silently understand that your absence will be attributed to your condition. In medieval society, gout is more than just an ailment. It is a socially acceptable excuse for breaks in etiquette, almost a nobleman's badge of distinction in itself. Lady Elenina will take on the farewells, performing the role of chatelaine with the grace and quiet authority that have made her indispensable to your position, as vital as your own political acumen. The partnership between lord and lady is the backbone of medieval governance. While you navigate external relations and official duties, she ensures the household and estate function seamlessly, that guests receive proper hospitality, and that your shared reputation for generosity bolsters your standing among peers. From your window, you watch the Baron's party gather and set off, a vibrant procession of horses, riders, and pack animals winding their way down the estate road toward the village below. The peasants pause their work as the nobles pass, bowing or curtsying as protocol demands, perhaps silently hoping for coins thrown by a benevolent lord in a rare moment of good humor. These exchanges between social ranks are highly ritualized, the subservience of the lower classes balanced by the noblesse oblige expected of the aristocracy. Once the Baron's party fades from sight, you allow yourself a subtle easing of tension. The visit has fulfilled its purpose, strengthening your alliance with a powerful neighbor and exchanging valuable intelligence on trade and royal politics, solidifying your stature within the tangled web of regional nobility. These social bonds are the unseen scaffolding that upholds your place in the medieval hierarchy. Lady Elenina enters your chamber, her cheeks flushed from the effort of managing the Baron's departure. She settles opposite you, smoothing her skirts with the effortless grace of a woman shaped by a lifetime under noble scrutiny. "The Baron sends his regards and wishes you a swift recovery," she reports softly. "He also confided that he suffers similar attacks, though he hides it well." You nod knowingly. "I noticed him favoring his right foot during the feast. too proud to admit it openly. Of course, she agrees with a knowing smile. But he did mention something curious. He's been consulting a Jewish physician from York who recommends cherries as a remedy for gout, claims they have lessened the frequency of his attacks. This piques your interest. Medieval medicine is a rich and tangled tapestry, a blend of the Galenic humors taught in European universities, herbal lore preserved in monastic infirmaries, folk remedies whispered among village healers, and knowledge brought by Islamic and Jewish physicians, often holding wisdom beyond what Christian Europe has retained. Jewish doctors, in particular, hold a special place in the hearts of those who can afford their services, despite the persistent prejudice against Jews in medieval society. Their medical expertise is widely recognized, and their ability to offer remedies often makes them invaluable, even to the most aristocratic households. Cherries, you muse aloud, the thought lingering in your mind. I've not heard Master Gilbert mention those before. They're difficult to obtain out of season, Elena comments, her voice soft yet practical. But we could preserve them next summer if you wish to try the remedy. You make a mental note to discuss this further with Master Gilbert. While the physician is a man of strict Galenic teachings and likely would be skeptical of remedies not in line with his training, you know he's practical enough to consider any potential cure that might offer relief to his lord. He may not accept it readily, but he might at least be willing to entertain it. The conversation shifts toward the usual household matters, the accounts that need reviewing, a dispute between two tenants that requires your judgment, and the plans for the winter months ahead. This is the daily business of lordship, the backbone of your noble status, and the weight of it is ever present. Unlike kings and the highest nobles, who have the luxury of delegating most of such matters, you, as a member of the gentry, are still required to actively manage your estate. It is a life of both responsibility and toil, where the luxury of distance from the everyday work of governance remains out of reach. You must remain involved, your hand ever guiding the fate of your lands and your people. As midday draws near, the pain in your foot subsides enough that you feel confident enough to venture downstairs. With your staff firmly gripped in your hand, you make your way carefully toward the small chamber off the great hall that serves as your office. The heavy oak table in the center of the room feels solid beneath you as you take your seat, preparing to receive your steward's report. "The harvest is complete, my lord," Henry informs you, consulting a tally stick, the notches carved into the wood telling the story of your crops. Better than last year, though not as abundant as we hoped. The mill has begun grinding. The news is met with a small sense of relief. A good harvest, while not as plentiful as you had prayed for, still brings with it a sense of stability. It means there will be bread on the table, and your peasants, though not affluent, will not suffer from hunger. This year, at least, the balance between prosperity and deprivation will remain in your favor. "And the wool clip?" you inquire, referring to the shearing of your sheep, another crucial source of income for the estate. "Sent to market last week, my lord," Henry responds, his voice a bit more reserved now. "Prices are down slightly due to the new tax, but still profitable." You listen carefully, weighing the implications of every word. Taxes have grown heavier with each passing year, a burden that not only hurts the common folk, but also nibbles away at your own margins. Still, the wool trade remains profitable enough to buffer against these changes. Your ability to weather these shifts, to adapt, is what has kept you steady. You discuss other matters, repairs needed to tenants' cottages before winter sets in, the timber to be cut from your woodlands, preparations for the Christmas season that will bring with it another round of feasting, obligations, and duties. But as you speak, the steady throb in your foot serves as an ever-present reminder of your physical vulnerability, a subtle undercurrent beneath the surface of your nobility. Despite your outward position of power and control, your body betrays you. It reminds you that no matter your rank, no matter the wealth or influence you possess, you are not immune to the frailties of the human condition. After the steward departs, the familiar, calm presence of Master Gilbert fills the room as he arrives for his daily examination of your condition. His hands are practiced, professional, as he unwraps the bandages, his touch gentle but firm as he assesses the swelling and discoloration of your foot. The procedure, though routine, carries with it the weight of necessity, the quiet surrender to something beyond your control. Your body, no matter how much you wish to ignore it, demands attention, and so you submit, as one must for the sake of keeping the larger machine of your world in motion. Improving, he pronounces, though not as quickly as I would like. The feast was a setback, as I feared. You mentioned the Baron's Jewish physician and his recommendation of cherries. Master Gilbert's expression remains carefully neutral, but you catch a subtle stiffening in his posture, a silent guard raised around his authority. Medieval physicians jealously protect their professional expertise, and even gentle suggestions of alternative remedies can be perceived as challenges to their knowledge and status. Cherries are cooling in nature, he finally responds after a thoughtful pause, which might indeed help balance the hot humors that contribute to gout. When available, they could be a useful addition to your diet. His words are measured diplomacy, acknowledging the possibility while firmly maintaining his role as your primary medical guide. As Master Gilbert prepares a fresh poultice, you bring up the matter weighing on your mind since waking. I've been considering changes to my daily regimen, you tell him, not just during attacks, but as a steady practice. He looks up, interest flickering in his eyes. What sort of changes, my lord? Oh, simpler food daily, not just when I'm suffering. More fish, fewer game birds and organ meats, less wine, more water. You hesitate briefly, then add with cautious hope, and more physical activity when I'm well, walking the estate rather than always riding, perhaps. Master Gilbert's face softens into cautious approval. These would be wise adjustments, my lord. The body thrives on moderation. As Hippocrates teaches us, excess in food, drink, or sloth creates imbalances that manifest as ailments like gout. This appeal to Hippocrates is typical of learned medieval physicians, grounded in ancient Greek wisdom passed through Arab scholars and Latin translations. Their whole medical worldview rests on the theory of the four humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile, where health is harmony among these elements, and disease the discord of imbalance. The challenge, you admit, is maintaining such moderation when one's position demands otherwise. Feasts like yesterday's cannot be avoided entirely. True, the physician concedes, as he carefully applies the fresh poultice to your inflamed foot. But they should be occasions rather than habits. And even during such events, careful choices can lessen the harm. Wrapping clean linen around your foot to secure the remedy, he adds, I would be remiss, however, if I did not mention another factor affecting the humors, your passions, my lord. Anger, anxiety, excessive concern with worldly matters. They inflame the blood and contribute to conditions like gout. The ancients recommended tranquility of mind as essential to physical health. This advice reflects the medieval understanding that mental and physical well-being are intricately connected. Emotions, those unseen currents within you, can affect your body in ways that seem mysterious, yet undeniable. They influence the humors, that ancient framework through which the body's health was understood. It is a subtle recognition of what modern medicine would later call psychosomatic effects, how stress, anxiety, and joy can in turn shape the state of the body. It's a delicate, unspoken truth, woven into the fabric of life during these times. You reflect on this with quiet contemplation, feeling the weight of Master Gilbert's words settling in your mind. The life of a medieval lord is filled with concerns, an endless list of duties that seem to never fade. There is the relentless management of your estate, the political alliances you must constantly navigate, the ever-present worry over family succession, and the unyielding demands that come from both above and below. From the king and higher nobility, you are expected to deliver, to maintain your position, to uphold the structures of power. Below, those who depend on you, your vassals, your tenants, your servants, look to you for guidance and protection. In this world of constant obligation, tranquility feels like an impossible luxury, something reserved for distant dreams, not the harsh reality of your station. Yet, as you sit with the knowledge of these demands, a small flicker of hope sparks within you. Perhaps there are ways to carve out small sanctuaries of calm, islands of peace amid the turbulent sea of responsibilities. You think of the quiet moments that are within your reach, the time for contemplation in the small chapel attached to your manor, its stone walls offering solace from the chaos of the outside world, or the brief, quiet walks through your gardens, where nature's stillness offers a moment to breathe. There are the books you've carefully collected, precious texts that provide both knowledge and a form of escape. Most of them are religious writings, steeped in faith, but you also have practical manuals on estate management and a collection of ancient Roman works that you hold dear, perhaps because they carry with them a sense of timeless wisdom. I will consider your advice regarding the passions. You tell Master Gilbert, your voice thoughtful, tinged with a sense of resignation, though I suspect that's a more difficult remedy to implement than dietary changes. He smiles slightly, his eyes betraying the quiet wisdom of someone who has offered this counsel many times before. The most valuable remedies often are, my lord. As Master Gilbert departs, you find yourself reflecting on the many layers of life, on the burdens of leadership, and the quiet ways in which one must seek relief from them. You spend the rest of the day attending to correspondence, your mind distracted yet focused as you dictate letters to your clerk. He writes them neatly on parchment, his steady hand a contrast to the swirling thoughts in your head. Literacy, though not universal among the nobility, is a gift you treasure. You were fortunate to receive an education at a monastery school when you were young, an education that has given you the ability to read documents without always relying on others. It's an advantage, not just in the day-to-day business of governing, but in politics as well, a skill that allows you to navigate the webs of intrigue that so often surround your position. By evening, there is a marked improvement in your foot. The swelling has decreased, and although there is still some tenderness, the searing pain that had plagued you earlier has subsided. It's a welcome relief, but you know better than to assume the battle is over. Gout has a way of returning when least expected. You join Lady Elenina for a simple supper in the small family dining chamber. This too marks the beginning of the dietary moderation you've promised to adopt. The meal before you is modest: fresh bread, a pottage of vegetables, a small portion of fish, and watered wine. It's satisfying in a way that feels right, nourishing without excess, fulfilling without triggering the bodily processes that can so easily lead to the accumulation of uric acid. Lady Elenina, ever thoughtful, has instructed the cook accordingly. She plans to maintain this simpler fare as your regular diet, saving writs for special occasions and important guests. "How are you feeling?" she asks as you finish the meal, her gaze soft with concern. "Better," you admit, a sense of quiet relief settling over you. "The attack is passing more quickly than the last one. Perhaps because we intervened earlier," she suggests gently, her voice filled with the wisdom of one who has observed these things before. "And the autumn crocus remedy seems particularly effective." You nod in agreement, feeling a strange mix of gratitude and resignation. The remedies have worked, but you know that the struggle is ongoing. You may have gained some respite today, but tomorrow brings its own challenges, both in health and in the demands of your position. Yet for now there is a fragile peace, a moment of calm to hold on to. You nod in agreement. The Byzantine physicians who first documented the use of autumn crocus for gout stumbled upon what modern medicine will eventually recognize as a targeted treatment. The colchicine contained in the plant specifically reduces the inflammation caused by uric acid crystals, making it one of the few truly effective treatments available in the medieval pharmacopoeia. After supper, you retire to the solar, a private family room in the upper part of the house, warmer and more comfortable than the great hall below. Here, away from the formal obligations of lordship, you can relax with family and closest household members. Your two youngest children join you, a daughter of 12 and a son of 9. The older children are already placed in other households as part of their education and preparation for adult roles. This fostering arrangement is common among the nobility, allowing children to build connections with other families while learning the skills suited to their station. The children are eager to hear about the Baron's visit and the feast, which they only saw briefly before being sent to their chambers. Lady Elenina indulges their curiosity while you sit with your foot elevated, watching the family interaction with quiet pleasure. This is another aspect of noble life that differs from that of the peasantry, the nature of family relationships. Peasant children stay with their parents, working alongside them from an early age. Noble children, by contrast, are often sent to other households or receive specialized training. Daughters may go to convents for education. Sons might train as pages and squires in preparation for knighthood. The emotional distance this creates is considered necessary for building the character and connections required of the nobility. As darkness falls, servants bring candles and stoke the small fireplace in the solar. The warm glow creates a cozy atmosphere as Lady Eleanina supervises the children's evening prayers before they are escorted to their chambers by their nurse. You should rest, she tells you, once they've gone. Tomorrow you have tenants' disputes to judge, and that requires a clear head. You know she's right. As lord of the manor, you serve as judge in the manorial court, settling disputes among your tenants according to local custom and your sense of justice. This judicial role is a fundamental aspect of lordship, one that directly affects the lives of those under your protection and authority. With your wife's assistance, you make your way back to your chamber, where Thomas has prepared everything for the night. Fresh linens are laid on the bed, a cup of herbal tea sits ready to help you sleep, and a chamber pot is discreetly positioned for nighttime needs. These small comforts of noble life are often taken for granted, until illness makes you appreciate them anew. As you settle into bed, you reflect on the day. The Baron's visit has strengthened an important alliance. Your estate's harvest is secure, your gout is improving, and you've resolved to make changes that might prevent future attacks. All in all, a successful navigation of the challenges that come with your position. Yet underlying these practical matters is a deeper question, one that your gout has forced you to confront. What does it mean to be a good lord in medieval society? Is it possible to fulfill the obligations of your rank while avoiding the excesses that harm your health? Can you find a balance between the demands of status and the needs of your body? These are not questions your peasants must ask themselves. Their challenges are more immediate: securing enough food, keeping shelter sound, surviving the next winter or bout of disease. But perhaps there's wisdom to be found in their simpler approach to life. Eat what nourishes. Work with purpose. Rest when the body requires it. As sleep approaches, you wonder, might your gout be not just a curse, but also, in some strange way, a blessing? A painful reminder of human limitations, even in a life of wealth, and power cannot overcome. A prompt to find a more sustainable way to inhabit your privileged position in the rigid hierarchy of medieval society. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges: disputes to settle, correspondence to manage, estate matters to oversee. But perhaps it will also bring opportunities to implement the changes you've contemplated. Small adjustments that might, over time, allow you to fulfill your duties as Lord while reducing the physical price you pay for privilege. The disease of kings has taught you a humbling lesson. Beneath the trappings of rank and power, you remain subject to the same bodily vulnerabilities as the humblest peasant on your lands. Different in manifestation, perhaps, but equal in their reminder of human frailty. With this thought, you drift towards sleep, your foot still throbbing gently but bearably, a physical echo of the day's reflections on the paradoxes of power and privilege in the medieval world. Outside your manor house, the estate settles into night. In the great hall below, servants bank the central hearth fire to keep embers alive until morning. Guards make their rounds along the walls and courtyards. In the stables, horses shift and snort in the darkness. The rhythms of medieval life continue, ordered by rank and custom, each person performing their allotted role in the great social tapestry. In the village beyond your walls, peasants sleep in their simple cottages, bodies tired from the day's harvest labor. Their dreams might include fantasies of noble life, the fine clothes, the abundant food, the leisure to pursue pleasure rather than necessity. They cannot know that, in your grand bed with its feather mattress and linen sheets, you sometimes envy the physical resilience their lifestyle builds. This mutual incomprehension, the gap between how each rank imagines the other's experience, is part of what maintains the medieval social order. If peasants truly understood that lords suffer their own particular pains, if lords fully appreciated the wisdom contained in simpler ways of living, perhaps the rigid boundaries between classes might begin to blur. But such awareness is rare in your time. For most, the hierarchical world is simply the natural order, ordained by God. and maintained by tradition, the lord in his manor, the peasant in his cottage, the priest in his church, the merchant in his shop. Each has a place, with duties and privileges appropriate to that station. Your gout has granted you a glimpse across these boundaries, a recognition that human bodies share fundamental needs and vulnerabilities, regardless of rank. Whether this insight will change how you wield your authority remains to be seen. But as sleep claims you, the possibility of a different approach to lordship, one that balances privilege with moderation, seems worth pursuing, both for your health and for the well-being of those under your protection. The medieval world turns on its axis of inequality, each person bearing their particular burdens according to their station. For tonight at least, yours has eased enough to allow rest, a temporary reprieve in the ongoing negotiation between your social position and your physical nature. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, but also opportunities to apply the wisdom that suffering has taught you if you have the courage to heed its lessons. Morning light seeps through the narrow window of your chamber, painting a pale rectangle across the rushes on the floor. You awaken to find your foot greatly improved, still tender when you flex your toe, but the angry swelling has subsided. Master Gilbert's remedies, particularly the autumn crocus, have done their work well this time. Thomas enters quietly, carrying a basin of warm water and fresh linens. "Good morning, my lord. How do you fare today?" "Better," you reply, carefully sitting up and placing your feet on the floor. The twinge in your toe is minimal, a vast improvement over the searing pain of 2 days ago. "I think I'll join the household for morning prayers." Thomas helps you dress in clothing appropriate for a lord attending to daily business, good quality, but not overly formal. The heavily embroidered tunics, fur-lined cloaks, and elaborate accessories that you wear for important social and political occasions remain in their chests today. Such finery is not just decoration, but a form of communication in medieval society, instantly signaling your rank and prosperity to all who see you. With your walking staff in hand, still useful for support, though less necessary than before, you make your way to the small chapel attached to your manor house. Here your family, household officers, and personal servants gather each morning for prayers, led by your household chaplain, a priest whose services you retain not just for religious duties, but also for assistance with correspondence and record keeping, as literacy is largely confined to the clergy. Lady Eleanor gives you a questioning look as you enter silently, asking about your condition. You nod slightly to indicate improvement. Your children, present for morning prayers before beginning their daily lessons with another household cleric, appear relieved to see you mobile again. Even at their young ages, they understand the importance of a lord's physical presence and the disruption that illness causes to the order of the household. After prayers, you join the family for a simple breakfast: bread, honey, water, and a small portion of cheese. This meal, like supper the previous evening, reflects your new resolution to moderate your diet. The kitchen staff, under Lady Eleanor's instruction, has adjusted their preparations accordingly. For a household accustomed to demonstrating its lord's status through abundant and rich food, this shift represents a significant change in thinking. With breakfast concluded, you proceed to the day's most important duty: presiding over the memorial court. This judicial function is fundamental to your role as lord, directly affecting the lives and livelihoods of your tenants. In the medieval legal system, such local courts handle most disputes and minor offenses, with only serious crimes reserved for royal justice. The court convenes in the Great Hall, carefully arranged for this solemn purpose. You sit upon your lordly chair atop the dais, a symbol of authority and judgment. Beside you stands your steward, a steady guide versed in customs and precedents that shape every decision. The bailiff, keeper of the estate's daily workings, waits nearby, ready to provide details about the fields and tenants under your charge. At a small table, a clerk prepares to record the day's judgments in the court rolls, the living memory of your estate's laws and order. Below, peasants from villages and farms gather in the lower hall, wearing their best, coarse by noble standards but precious to those who toil the land. Undyed wool tunics hang plainly, simple caps respectfully removed in your presence. Some wear leather shoes, a sign of modest means, while others stand barefoot or in wooden clogs, marking the hard reality of their lives. They cluster in quiet groups, murmuring softly as they await their turn to stand before your judgment. The first case unfolds, a boundary dispute between two tenant farmers. The confusion of their strips in the common fields, stirred by the spring plowing, has bred accusations of encroachment and grievance. Both men approach the dais, bowing with humility and unease as they present their claims. You listen intently, then turn to your bailiff for precise knowledge of the land's location and history. These moments call for Solomon's wisdom. The prosperity of your estate hinges on peace among tenants and the just allocation of resources. After careful deliberation, you decree that the disputed land be divided equally. Neither man is fully satisfied, yet both accept your ruling without dissent. Your authority, though seldom questioned aloud, rests on this balance of firmness and fairness, even if private complaints linger unseen. One case flows into another, a miller accused of overcharging for grain grinding, a woman asserting her late husband's right to their cottage, and a dispute over damage wrought by stray livestock. Each matter carries the weight of everyday survival, the fragile ties binding your domain together, and the relentless demand for your judgment to hold firm in the swirling currents of medieval life. Each case demands your careful attention to the intricate weave of local customs, the delicate threads of family ties within the village, and a clear understanding of how your judgment will ripple through both the lives involved and the broader community. Throughout the proceedings, a rare mercy visits you. Your foot remains relatively comfortable. This reprieve from pain allows your mind to stay focused, unshackled from the torment that has clouded past court sessions during gout attacks. It is a welcome clarity, though your patience still frays at the slow, often tedious unraveling of peasant disputes. The final case of the day presses heavily upon you, a challenge unlike the others. A tenant named John Weaver stands accused of neglecting his required labor service on your demesne land, the part of the estate dedicated to producing directly for your household, not rented out. The bailiff's report weighs heavily. This is John's third offense this year. John approaches the dais with humble steps, clutching his cap in calloused hands, eyes cast low before his lord. His thin frame and weathered face tell the story of years spent toiling under the open sky. When asked to explain his absence, John hesitates, then speaks with quiet honesty. "My lord, my wife has been ill these past months, a wasting sickness that leaves her too weak to tend our home or care for our younger children. On the days I was called to your fields, there was no one else to fetch water, prepare food, or watch the little ones." The bailiff interrupts, a hint of sternness in his tone. "His oldest daughter could have managed those tasks, my lord. She's of sufficient age." John shakes his head firmly. "She was already working as a day laborer for the miller's wife, earning coin we sorely need for medicines. I could not call her home without losing that income." The dilemma settles heavily in the room. Labor service is no mere custom. It is the very backbone of tenancy within your feudal order. To overlook its neglect risks unraveling the foundation of your authority and the economic strength of your estate. Yet the mantle of lordship carries another weight, the duty of mercy, to temper justice with understanding when hardship strikes true. You weigh John's words with care. His explanation resonates as truth. Reports have come of a persistent fever sweeping through several families in the village this summer. Unlike others who shirk duty from sloth or defiance, John's past record speaks of a man who honors his obligations. "What remedies has your wife received for her illness?" you ask, your voice threading genuine concern with a keen curiosity about the health practices of those under your care. John looks up, startled by the personal nature of your question, caught off guard, yet willing to answer. "The village-wise woman has provided herbal drafts, my lord, feverfew and chamomile, mainly, and we've paid for prayers to be said at the parish church." This blend of herbal medicine and spiritual intercession is the lifeline of peasant healthcare. Unlike you, they cannot summon physicians versed in the complex Galenic theories of humors or afford sophisticated treatments. Their medicine is born of practical necessity. Rooted in the ancestral knowledge of local plants, their healing properties intertwined with devout faith and rituals believed to summon divine grace. After a moment's reflection, you speak your judgment with measured authority. "You will make up the missed labor days before Michaelmas. you say, referring to the critical harvest festival at September's end. But given the circumstances, no additional penalty will be imposed. Your decision balances firmness with compassion, upholding your rights while recognizing the genuine hardship that kept them from their duties. The bailiff's expression tightens with mild disapproval. He favors harsher enforcement, but offers no objection. John bows deeply, relief washing over his worn face. "Thank you for your mercy, my lord. The days will be made good, I swear it." As he turns to leave, you add quietly, "And John, tell your wife that Lady Elelenina will send remedies from our own stores that may help her recovery." This gesture, sharing the benefits of your more advanced medicines with the tenant's family, is beyond custom or obligation. It is a choice born perhaps from your own recent brush with illness and a profound understanding of the value of effective care. The surprise and gratitude in John's eyes reveal how rare such direct concern from lord to tenant truly is. With the court session concluded, you retire to your small office chamber for a midday meal. The morning's demands have left you weary, yet not drained, a quiet testament to your improving condition. The simple fare, bread, cheese, and a modest portion of cold chicken, nourishes without the heaviness that often follows the rich banquets expected of your rank. After eating, you dictate several letters to your clerk, correspondence with neighboring lords on regional affairs, and instructions to a London merchant concerning goods to be procured for your household. A letter is written to your eldest son, who is currently serving as a squire in another noble household, honing his skills in knightly training. The message includes a brief mention of your recent gout attack, carefully framed to acknowledge the condition without overindulging in its details. Among the nobility, excessive concern with physical ailments is seen as a sign of weakness, an unseemly distraction from the dignified role one is expected to uphold. To openly dwell on such afflictions would undermine the stoic image of a lord who must face his hardships with quiet resolve. As the clerk seals the letter with your personal signet, the soft sound of footsteps announces the arrival of Master Gilbert. It is time for his daily examination. You dismiss the clerk, requesting privacy for this more intimate consultation with the physician. "There's been a marked improvement, my lord," Master Gilbert pronounces after a careful inspection of your foot, his voice professional but laced with approval. The swelling has receded significantly and the color is nearly normal. The autumn crocus has proven particularly effective in your case. "As you predicted," you reply with quiet acknowledgement, "and I have adhered to your advice regarding diet, even during this morning's court session when my patience was sorely tested." The physician nods approvingly at your discipline. "Maintaining such moderation will serve you well, my lord. However, now that the acute attack has passed, we must consider preventive measures to extend the time before the next occurrence." What follows is a detailed and pragmatic discussion of adjustments to your daily regimen. Foods to avoid, beverages to favor over wine. Master Gilbert suggests switching to more moderate options to maintain balance within the body, and forms of gentle exercise appropriate for your station to keep your joints and blood in better order. The physician also recommends the regular use of certain herbs believed to cleanse the blood and balance the humors. Dandelion root, meadow sweet, and devil's claw among them. These natural remedies, though outside the realm of conventional treatments, offer promise for maintaining your health, an essential tool for navigating the complexities of your position. "And what of cherries?" you ask, recalling the Jewish physician who serves Baron Radcliffe. The memory of his advice lingers, and you wonder if these fruits, often scarce out of season, might provide a remedy. Master Gilbert's expression remains neutral, betraying little emotion. "When in season, yes, my lord," he replies. "Their cooling properties may indeed help prevent the heat and inflammation of gout. We might also preserve them in honey for use throughout the year." There is a brief pause before you speak again, a subtle appreciation for the physician's response, though you remain mindful of the social and medical boundaries at play. His acceptance of such a remedy shows his practicality, and though he does not fully embrace it, he is willing to consider it as part of the greater tapestry of your health. As the discussion draws to a close, the weight of your condition settles into your thoughts once more. But you are a lord, and you endure. You make your decisions with the steadiness that your title demands, even as the physical reality of your body reminds you of its limits. This willingness to embrace ideas beyond his formal training reveals Master Gilbert's practical and open-minded approach to healing. While many physicians of the era rigidly cling to the ancient texts taught in universities, those venerable Greek and Roman authorities, the best among them also heed what they observe in the world around them, ready to adopt remedies that work, no matter their origin. After the physician departs, feeling a flicker of regained strength, you decide to take advantage of the fine autumn weather. With your walking staff steadying each step, you venture into the gardens beside your manor. These grounds are far more than mere decoration. They are a living pharmacy and sanctuary, offering fresh herbs for the kitchen and medicine chest, flowers to brighten the halls, and a peaceful refuge for gentle exercise and quiet reflection. The garden paths, meticulously maintained with gravel, accommodate even the most fragile footsteps. As you move slowly, savoring the crisp, clean air, delicate scent of late-blooming herbs, your mind turns inward, reflecting on the lessons your recent illness has forced upon you. The gout attack, painful as it was, imposed an unexpected stillness, a pause in your relentless duties. For a medieval lord, life is a whirlwind of managing estates, negotiating politics, and fulfilling the heavy burden of social obligations. There is rarely time for such introspection, yet now, in these quiet moments of enforced rest, your thoughts drift deeper. Is it possible to honor your responsibilities as Lord while avoiding the very excesses that bring you pain? Can you strike a balance between the weight of tradition and the needs of your body? Is there perhaps wisdom in the simpler, humbler lives of those who serve beneath you in the social order? Your contemplation is gently broken by the arrival of Lady Ellalinina, who steps beside you with the quiet grace of a partner in life and in thought. Nearly 2 decades of shared days and nights have woven her presence into your very being. "You seem lost in thought," she observes softly. "I've been considering changes," you admit, "not just in diet and exercise, but in how we run our household. The endless feasting, the relentless show of status through abundance, it takes a toll, not only on my health, but on our resources as well." She nods thoughtfully, her expression one of quiet contemplation. "I've had similar reflections," she admits, her tone laced with both concern and practicality. "The waste from our table alone could feed several tenant families, and the cost of spices and imported luxuries has increased substantially in recent years." She pauses, considering the weight of her words. This practical concern, rooted in both economics and health, reflects Lady Ellalinina's role as the steady hand guiding the household. While you oversee the productive aspects of the estate, agriculture, timber, rents, and taxes, she manages its consumption, striking a delicate balance between the needs of daily life and the social expectations that come with your rank. "What changes did you have in mind?" she asks, her voice steady but curious, as she senses that your reflections might herald a shift in the way things have always been. You take a deep breath, knowing that this is more than just a passing thought. It's a shift in how you want to live. Simpler fare daily, with elaborate meals reserved for important guests and special occasions. More time spent in useful activity rather than idle pastimes. Perhaps even more direct engagement with managing our lands, you propose, your voice steady as you lay out the outline of your vision. This last suggestion is perhaps the most radical. It's a break from the traditional noble ways of doing things. Typically, lords oversee their estates through officials like stewards and bailiffs, leaving the hands-on work to those trained in agricultural labor. To involve yourself directly in the nitty-gritty of managing your lands would be seen as beneath your station, an unspoken line between what is considered dignified and what is not. Lady Ellalinina thinks over your words carefully, her brow furrowing as she weighs the potential consequences. "Such changes would be noticed," she says finally, her voice tinged with concern. "People might question our wealth or your strength as lord." It's a fair point. In medieval society, what you consume and how you present yourself are never merely private matters. They speak volumes about your status, your influence, and your power. A noble who suddenly adopts a simpler lifestyle could easily be seen as falling on hard times. Such assumptions, however unfounded, can erode trust and confidence. Allies might begin to distance themselves from someone they perceive as in decline, and a once sturdy reputation can crumble under the weight of speculation. Maybe, you suggest, your tone shifting slightly, we frame it not as a reduction, but as a refinement, not less, but more selective, quality over quantity. She smiles, the subtle shift in your approach not lost on her. Her eyes brighten with understanding. That could work, she agrees, her voice light with a new sense of possibility. The finest ingredients prepared simply instead of overdone dishes. The best cloth in classic styles rather than too much decoration. Discrimination, not abstention. Her words bring a sense of relief, as if an unspoken understanding has been reached. The idea of simplicity doesn't have to be a rejection of wealth. It can be an elevation of taste, a refinement that speaks to both prudence and wisdom. It is not about giving up luxury, but rather choosing to enjoy it in ways that are thoughtful, intentional, and dignified. This approach offers a delicate balance, a way to scale back without jeopardizing your standing. It is a middle path, carefully navigating between the indulgences that ravage your health and the stark simplicity that could tarnish your image. As you conclude your walk through the garden and turn back toward the manor house, a quiet sense of possibility stirs within you, something absent during the darker days of previous gout attacks. No longer do you see yourself merely enduring the pain, only to fall back into old habits once it subsides. Instead, a new vision begins to take shape, a way of being a lord that honors both your health and your social and political duties. The challenge ahead is formidable, to transform these emerging thoughts into lasting action, and to remain steadfast amid the weight of tradition and expectation. So after this journey into the life of a medieval lord, facing pain, privilege, and the delicate balance between duty and health, how do you feel about the story we've shared? Are you satisfied with this glimpse into history, the struggles behind the grandeur, and the quiet moments of reflection? If you enjoyed this video, please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to support more content like this. And before you go, send your warmest goodnight wishes to everyone watching. We all deserve peaceful rest after a long day. Thank you for being here with us. Sleep well.